Hello ladies and gents, I'm the Beanie 101 and I'm bringing you some NHL 15 on Xbox One. This is the demo. I want to show you what it's all about and let you know what my thoughts are. I'm going to split this up into a couple of different sections. We're going to talk about the presentation, and so you can see the intro coming up right here. And I'm going to talk about gameplay, and then I'm going to talk about a few of my bugbears and a few of the issues that I've seen with the demos so far. But have a look at this. First off, you see Doc Emmerich and Eddie Olczyk. This is the new presentation feature that NHL 15 has for next gen. I don't think that these are in the 360 and PS3 version, that intro anyway. I think that's just for Xbox One, but I could be completely wrong. I know they do the commentary for both versions of the game, and I think overall the presentation that EA Sports have put into this game is pretty damn amazing. I'm really impressed. You notice the green screen for Emmerich and Olczyk at the beginning, and I think that works so much better than some other games that you see. I know that Madden over the past couple of years have rendered their commentators, and I don't know whether that works quite so well. The green screen just makes it look so much more realistic. So I'm really pleased with the way that looks. Is it going to be something that you're going to skip? Yeah, after a few times, you're probably going to skip it. It'll be interesting to see how it works for GM mode, how it works for Be a Pro, whether there's loads of different intros for different scenarios, for the playoffs, for the Stanley Cup in particular. But we'll have to wait and see for that. At the moment, I'm quite impressed, even though it is something that you might skip. The commentary as a whole is alright. Doc Emmerich isn't quite as enthusiastic as you'd expect him to be if you watch any real-life NHL broadcasts. But the presentation package as a whole is pretty damn good. Now, moving on to the graphics of the game, a few things have stuck out for me whilst playing the demo. First off, the ice looks really nice. The spray that comes off the ice, the sound effects, some of those sort of things, they come across really well. The player models are still a bit hit and miss. I know those of you that have been playing the NHL franchise for many years will recognize some of the generic faces. They haven't changed. There's an awful lot of players that still have generic faces and not their real faces. And my overall thoughts on some of the player models, they're okay. Some players look a little bit goofy from some angles. I think Kopitar in particular looks a little bit wonky when there's some facial animations going on, but when he's not doing anything with his face, he's okay. So the player models are an improvement, but they're not on par with some other games that have come out on next gen so far. So NBA 2K is head and shoulders above some of the things that NHL is showing here. FIFA, I would say that NHL is on a par with FIFA. FIFA's facial technology and graphics overall are not great. The faces are good, fine, but the rest of it is pretty average. And Madden has had a great big step up this year with Madden 15. So is it as good as Madden? Maybe not, but it's somewhere in amongst the pack. The jerseys, I know that some players have commented on how the jerseys look and feel, and the little sway and the motion that you have on the jerseys is perhaps a little bit overdone. I'm going to agree with that. I think that they move and they sway around just a touch too much. It's something that, I mean, if you look at some of these replays here, you can kind of tell that they're moving around, but it's not something that detracts from the gameplay. So I'm not too concerned about the jerseys. They look nice. They're better than current gen, that's for sure. Next, I suppose the crowds. EA have spent a lot of time talking about the crowds and the arenas. They look great. I mean, you can see some of the cutaways when we score here. About you take some snapshots of the crowds here. You know, the long shots, the placards that the crowds show. They're really quite good. So I do like what they've done with the crowds. Have they spent too much time getting that sort of stuff right rather than focusing on other things? I don't know. This is going to be a baseline for the game for many years to come. So I think that they've done a real good job on the presentation and the graphics overall. I have a few bugbears. Look at that scoreboard. Look at the scoreboard. The scoreboard is bloody huge. I think it's maybe a bit too big. There are a couple of new camera angles as well. I'm not sure how I feel about all of them. They've got a new set of camera angles. I think they're called dynamic, low, medium and high. I like dynamic high. I play as a D-man usually when I was playing ESHL on NHL 14. Obviously that's not going to happen this year. But I do like dynamic high. It looks quite good. But that's really all I've got to say on the presentation side of things. I want to come on to the gameplay, because you guys have been watching about 4 or 5 minutes of gameplay, and I want to tell you what I think, because it's very, very different when you've got a controller in your hands to when you're watching something on YouTube. The first thing that's very, very noticeable is the pace of the game. It's noticeably slower than NHL 14, and it does have a very, very different feel to it. The skating in particular has much more weight to it. Faster players are faster and they cut more. The hitting engine, there's some more weight to that. You can nudge players, and if you're a big guy, you can really bump somebody off the puck. So I didn't think the hitting engine is hugely different, but it's certainly seen some refinement in animations and the way that players interact. There's less bubbles, things are more free-flowing, and it looks a little more natural in general. But the game does feel slower, and I think the general feeling is it's more realistic. If you come onto the Superstar skill stick and the things that they've done with the skill stick, that feels more realistic as well. There's a few dekes and a few cut moves that are new. I think some of the cut moves, they look more realistic than you've seen in previous games. They've taken out some dekes, they've added some new dekes. None of the one-handed stuff and some of the goofy, unrealistic stuff is in there anymore, and some of the windmill dekes look very, very nice and are understated. Is it a bit oversimplified? I don't know. I quite like the realistic impact that it has, and the fact that it looks a little more true to life than the more arcadey stuff that you could do in the last few years since they introduced loose puck dekes and some of the fancy stuff that you could do over the last 2 or 3 years. Skating does feel quite good, especially defensive skating. You can strafe a little better. You're not going to do any of those goofy spins when you're trying to keep up with opposition forwards when you're skating backwards and you've got vision control held. So that overall is pretty good and pretty positive. Now, one thing that I do want to bring my attention to is the puck physics. My God, if there's one reason to get NHL 15 on next gen, it's the puck physics. They are fantastic. It is such a huge upgrade on NHL 14. It's not even funny. It's a really, really positive step in the right direction. They've clearly spent a lot of time and effort getting it right, and the way that the puck bounces, it's so much more realistic. A couple of points to make. Pucks do come off sticks and skates a little more regularly, and that is more realistic. Do skates still go through bodies? Do sticks still go through bodies? Yeah, it's for the benefit of the overall flow of the game, I think. And the fighting engine hasn't changed either, but check this out. I'm going to freeze this right here. Look at Robin Regeer's face, right? That's some new facial technology going on there with the eye shut up. I don't think I've seen that before, but I'm going to leave it there. The puck physics are great. The gameplay is much more realistic, and I really do like the way in general that the game plays. The only other thing I might mention is, and I think this is something that's dialed up for the demo, so I'm not too concerned, the shot power is through the roof, right? You can roof backhands at an amazing pace. You can take wrist shots and slap shots, and they go in. I think it's been dialed up for the demo to create more goals for the 2-minute periods that you get to experience in the demo, but I'm not overly concerned. That's all I've got to say. I know that NHL 15 is going to tear the community a little bit because it's not necessarily the most complete experience that people would like, but I'm really excited for it. I hope you guys are too. Let me know what console you're getting it on. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to see some more NHL footage. I've got plenty of stuff that's going to be coming your way in the next few days, and we've not got long to wait for release, so looking forward to it. I'll catch you guys later.